during the Civil War, pre-Civil War, when black communities and the enslaved people were allowed to at least be exposed to the gospel and preach from Scripture, they were only given a certain section of Scripture. Mm-hmm. They weren't allowed to have Scripture that talked about freedom, that talked about, because it was too threatening to the culture. And when I look back at history and I see how the black church emerged through that, which is another great lesson of black history, when I see how the black church emerged through that, I go, oh, there's hope for the church today. Mm-hmm. I mean, we actually watched that thread of faith be resilient through all of those missteps, and Jesus still kept shining through somehow. And when I look at that, I go, oh, it doesn't matter how dark it is today or how difficult it is today. There's a way through if we stay focused on who Jesus actually was and we stay focused on the gospel.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, Reggie, you modeled that, and thank you for that. I have a question, it's more personal.
Yeah.
And that is, how has this journey impacted you spiritually, the way you live out your faith?
Well, I mentioned earlier that all of the images in my mind of the first 20 years were white men. If you were to look at the images of the leaders that have been in my life the last 20 years, it's pretty diverse. And I think it's done a couple of things. One is it's caused me to pause and go, as right as I think I am, there's a percentage that I might be wrong. I love that Jesus, in the New Testament, was described as putting his own power on hold. Mm-hmm. And he had all power.
Sure.
And putting his own opinions on hold, and he was right. He was the truth, so that he could serve. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a posture that I would say to anybody that comes back to empathy. It comes back to understanding that what you don't understand. I love the idea of what it looks like for me to pause and listen, because I think it changes you and it changes me. So I would say, first of all, it changed my posture. And second, I think because we have a passion for the next generation, I think we take everything through a filter of, in this world where a lot of deconstruction is happening, why is that happening? And what are the elements of faith that we can hand to a generation that they can't deconstruct? I think there are versions of the church and versions of Christianity that are broken, and so it makes it easy to destruct.
Right.
It makes it easy for them to deconstruct. So I think for me personally, God has gotten bigger. I think for me personally, friendships have gotten richer. And I am, when you say, how does Black history affect you? I have to say how Black history is affecting me. Because it's an ongoing journey. And it's the ongoing journey, even though I'm 63, it's the ongoing journey of change that I think I've got to lean into. And somewhere along the way, I just hope and pray that I will be able to live out what that looks like and what that means. It's the affecting, I think it's the constant change that I'm trying to continue. And I'm still promoting your church thing, but still. Yeah,
provocative.
It is.
Reggie, man, thank you. I think this was all I hoped it to be and more in terms of this conversation. And I think this conversation really captures a larger story. It shows that, like, Black history isn't just Black history. It's God's history, and it is a part of the story that God is writing with his church and with his people. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to be a part of it with people like you.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
I feel the same way.